This is behind the bit. This is behind the bit. This is behind the bit.
For the past 20 years, you've seen and heard bits on the Dan Le Batard Show, and you may have wondered to yourself, what are these bits? And what's wrong with these people?
And what comes over me when my head falls to the table was Mike Ryan saying, I'm sure this is exactly how Valerie would have wanted everyone to get the news, that you are marrying her.
What?
Wow.
Wait a minute.
Quite the scoop.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald has put in the Miami Herald that a lifelong bachelor, Dan Le Batard, he's put this in the Miami Herald. What does the article say?
There is major personal news for ESPN's Dan Le Batard. He's been keeping it secret. Here it is. That's the headline.
There is his son, of course, laughing harder than anybody at what a jerk, a journalist, jackass his father is.
One of South Florida's most steadfastly unmarried men, a guy People magazine once called one of America's most eligible bachelors, is available no more. Dan Le Batard is off the market. Wow. The popular Miami-based ESPN radio and television host, who just signed a 4-year contract extension with the network.
He's covering me like an athlete.
Why is he talking about you like he doesn't know you?
He's covering me like an athlete.
Le Batard, former Miami Herald sports columnist, has not yet announced his engagement publicly on either of his ESPN platforms.
Stugotz just texted me congratulations.
That's a big day.
Stugotz just texted me congratulations right now while sitting next to me and hearing this story.
Sources close to the couple tell us Le Batard popped the question during a recent vacation in Kenya and Tanzania. A safari organized by Zoo Miami's Ron McGill, a weekly regular on Dan's radio show.
No!
Dan met Valerie, a lifelong Miamian, 2 years ago, noticing her walking through a restaurant at which his parents, Gonzalo, Papi, and Lourdes, were celebrating their 49th wedding anniversary. Dan is 49, by the way. His bride-to-be is 29. Your best wishes and or snarky comments go here.
Unbelievable listening to it back that he did that.
Is it?
It remains, yes, it remains unbelievable. But I can't, look at my expression there. I can't be mad at that person no matter what he does.
What he did was he did his job, okay? That's what a journalist does. He takes his friend's private information and he shares it with the world. That's what he does now.
No, that's not journalism. It's a betrayal. It's an outright betrayal.
I've never been prouder of Greg Cote.
What's the matter with you, dude?
What do you mean? I reported the truth. Very accurate. Super duper accurate.
Stunningly
detailed.
accurate.
And a lot of details.
A lot of detail. And
the
a
magic
total
is in
betrayal.
the
Yes. Well, the magic is in the betrayal. It's not in the details. This is how it all came out.
Right.
I was learning right here, and look at my face frozen on the screen now. Does it seem like I'm enraged? Look at me.
Stu, did you know beforehand, or were you really finding out there?
I had no idea. No, Greg broke the news to me. That's why I congratulated Dan via text. I was happy for him.
And listening back to it, I realized, because I hadn't seen the video, that Stugotz was congratulating me by text while sitting right next to me.
Of course.
I thought he was texting in from elsewhere when I was just hearing the audio.
In the room, how upset was Dan really?
Oh, he was pissed. And a lot of that pissiness was on behalf of Valerie because, if you're a man, if you're a semi-famous man and you want to surprise people about this, engagement, your friend who also works in newspapers should not be unveiling said surprise without your permission. And that's what happened.
Did you have any idea your dad was going to write that article?
No clue. I knew that he wanted that scoop because I think he knew that it was coming, but no. I remember seeing it come across our Twitter, me and Billy, because Billy in that clip explains, hey, something just happened. I can to this day remember the feeling of, oh my God, he did it. I started getting selfish. I started worrying about my job. I was like, this is big. My dad may have just cost me my job. You remember that? I remember texting you.
Yeah, oh yeah, you were panicked.
Terrified.
You were panic-stricken.
Did he give you, I was trying to get him, unveil that it was all a bit. I'm like, please tell me Dan let you do this or something. He's just like, no, I just went with it. I'm like, oh my God.
I think my thinking at the time was, I knew I was revealing it to the general public, but I assumed that Dan had already informed everyone in his inner circle privately.
I'm sweating just thinking back to that day.
Okay, well, you survived it, kid.
Greg, do you think the reason that you're more willing to go for it is you trust in your relationship with Dan?
No, I try to strike that balance. I know my friendship with Dan is long enough and deep enough to survive something like this. And honestly, I think he genuinely was shocked and initially upset that I did this. But I think some of it after that became a little bit of show shtick. You know, I think he was upset genuinely and surprised.
I think he was pretty upset.
Does Greg often go rogue?
Not like that. He's never done that. But here's the worst part of it. He was rewarded for it. He got more clicks than any story he's ever written. That somehow is the biggest news story Greg Cote has ever broken. No joke.
Know your friends, man. I mean,
Come
it's your
on,
fault. You
man.
told Greg. What'd you expect Greg to do with that when you told him? You know him. He's your best friend.
I did not expect him to put it in the newspaper.
I did.
Because it's a betrayal.
So many clicks, though.
And that too. Yeah, no, it was good for business on my end. And I've never denied that. I said earlier that, the Le Batard Show is sort of a beat that I cover in a way. What Dan does is newsworthy to my readers.
That it was the birth of you becoming a click whore.
Well,
That ever since then, you've just been, what can I write? Like, you saw the clicks from the proposal thing, from the engagement.
Yeah.
And you just, since then, what can I write that will get the most clicks?
How did Valerie take it?
She found it funny. She generally finds very funny whenever I'm the butt of the joke. That's one of her favorites.
And Billy's.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You're still married, right?
What is that for?
Well, it proves that I didn't throw a wrench into the whole thing. I mean, everything worked out great. You're welcome, I could say. I mean,
Thank you. So I should be thanking you for betraying me.
I saved you the stamps on sending out the message to everyone that you probably would have emailed. I don't know how you would have broken the news if it weren't for me. You probably would have said it on the air. What's the difference between me reporting it in the Miami Herald and you mentioning it on the show? I scooped you. That's why you're sore. I scooped you.
No, it would have been nice for my wife to be able to tell people the way that she wanted to tell people.
Oh, but she knew. It's not like I surprised her with the news.
Yes, she did know.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You didn't surprise her.
Yeah, so?
You simply betrayed her as well.
Yeah,
yes,
but,
you didn't surprise her. You also surprised her in betraying her, but you didn't surprise her that we were engaged.
True. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a betrayal. I think that's a little strong.
What's the word you would use?
Just reporting the news. In this case, I was happy to break the good news. The good news involving one of my best friends and a lovely bride-to-be. I was happy to break that news, very proud that I did. And you were sore at first, but you've gotten over it. Our friendship survived.
You enjoyed writing that last sentence.
Dan is 49, by the way. His bride-to-be is 29. Your best wishes and or snarky comments go here.
Yeah, I did enjoy it though. It was a nice little touch. You want the dismount to be a little humorous and so that worked for me. Yeah, because it did read sort of like a news story, and it read like Christopher said, it read like I was writing about someone who I didn't even know, let alone was good friends with. So we had a little tweak, a little smirk at the end there.
A little, really as fine a work as you have ever done. All things considered.
You know what? That may be an exaggeration, but I'm going to take it. It's probably one of the most noteworthy. That and my Trade Marino column are probably the two things that, and calling Conor McDavid overrated. That's my gold, silver, and bronze. So we're pretty happy about that.
Do you guys not trust Greg now?
It's getting to the point where we're going to have to feed him fake news to avoid any of these things happening again.
Did you know Chris was going to have this reaction, Greg?
No, but he tends to be a little panicked whenever anything like that comes. I could name a myriad of other things I've written where he gets a little nervous and just a million examples. When I reported that Stan Van Gundy's wife had passed away, he didn't want me to do that either, even though it was newsworthy and became big news. But you know, he's a little nervous when it comes to stuff that he thinks might make Dan upset.
Imagine that. He's my boss.
All right. Well, he's, you know, whatever. We all survived it. It's okay. They're happily married, thanks to me. No, I'm not taking any credit. Don't worry about that. And ultimately, I don't think I would have just betrayed what he wanted or didn't want me to do. I didn't tell him, but honestly...
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Okay, I haven't asked for forgiveness.